Rama, Hare Hare. The goals and values of developing these Varnashram communities it's ironic that we're just discussing how to live in a way very simply and naturally and be happy, which is it actually should be very, very simple thing to do. But we're so messed up by the modern society and just by the whole materialistic outlook of Ishvaro ham aham bhogi, I'm here to enjoy this world, I'm here to control everything, that just to live in a very natural way and a pleasing way and in an elevating way, in a pure way, it seems just very difficult. Very difficult to work it out. How can we do it? I don't think it's possible, and it won't work. And we have to. If you think about it, it's bizarre. Why should it be so difficult? It should be the. It's just as Lord Jesus Christ is reputed to have said that with the birds. And of course Prabhupada said the same thing also. Jesus said the birds, they don't do any work. And the elephant, Prabhupada said the elephant gets what he needs, the ant gets what he needs by Krishna's arrangement. And only humans are worrying, I have to do this and do that. And the first thing the bird does in the morning is get up and sing. He doesn't have any bank balance. He goes to the shop and buys some bird food. The dog, first thing he does, stretch himself, just no problem. I'm talking about the dogs in the street. I know where their food will come from. They don't know exactly, but it's not that they have faith in God. They don't have the developed consciousness even to think of God, but they're just confident that something will come. If it doesn't come, then they make some other arrangement. They're not so calculating. Man is supposed to be superior because he's more intelligent, but in some ways more intelligent, but in other ways very, very foolish. So we're talking about these Varnashram communities, and our devotees are starting them with faith in Prabhupada's words and Krishna's arrangement, wanting to do something better for their families than what the modern society can offer. Well, let's put it more frankly, they want to escape this hellish society and not subject their children to it. But of course Prabhupada said that millions can join. So it's really part of the, it's not just that we're doing it for ourselves, we have to go beyond that vision. But it's meant for everyone, can embrace the whole world. There's that saying, Prabhupada made a house in which the whole world can live. Well, Prabhupada himself didn't exactly say that, but apparently some astrologer in Navadvip said that. What we're talking, it's just a completely different way of life. It's like a different universe, a different way of thinking, a completely different approach. That's why, maybe why people find it so difficult to relate to, because it does require a complete change of consciousness. Which Shravan and Kirtan comes. That's the center of the Varnashram community. It's all to the Daiva Varnashram community is meant to facilitate, as Srila Prabhupada says in his purport to the Dadati Patigrahnati verse, that the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchange between devotees, and that is the basis of the Daiva Varnashram community. The devotees are living and relating with each other, and it become. I was saying this morning, people come and they'll see how devotees are so happy. Well, that happiness comes from an exchange of love. Instead of working, what money do I get? I'd mentioned how the barber does his work, it's his duty, he doesn't think how he gets paid. The carpenter, he has to make a chair or something, he just makes it and he doesn't get paid or any such thing. It's a consciousness of not just doing my duty, but giving, wanted to do it very well. The consciousness of I'm doing this work, duty yes, but not just. Sometimes you get the idea, duty, okay, just do the minimum, that's my duty, and phew, I did my duty, okay. But really our duty is to do the thing as well as possible, to go the extra mile, as the saying is there. The golden rule, what is that? Do unto others as they would do unto you. That's called the golden. It's there in all cultures all over the world. Also said to have Jesus to have said that. But that's, I mean, it's better than kicking people in the face. But although sometimes Prabhupada recommended that as the proper way to deal with others. But better than that is wanting to serve others selflessly. That is the Vaishnava mood on which we want to establish these communities, to give the opportunity to people to come and live to share the gift that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to give to the world. To share that, just as I said again this morning, preaching in every town and village. Okay, you preach, you go and you come away again, but rather to go on preaching. That means in every town and village there should be daily preaching of Krishna consciousness. That means daily discussion of Bhagavatam, Kirtan, all these things. So every town and village means not just, okay, I was the first one to go and preach in such and such a place. You go there, fly in, have some program and go back, and then you can go down in history as the first person to go there and preach there. But to actually stay, develop, help people to come up in Krishna consciousness, these communities are like that. What does it mean, millions? Well, from what I can understand, from what Prabhupada taught, it may not be that everyone will be a fully dedicated devotee. Prabhupada even spoke about there can be, in Vedic culture, there can be meat eating also, which is pretty gross. Vaishnavas, most Vaishnavas don't like to eat meat. There are exceptions. Garuda is an exception. Jatayu, the meat eaters. But generally the Vaishnavas don't like to eat meat, but they recognize, Prabhupada, he said, we recognize there will be people in society who want to eat meat, so that's allowed at some level, it's not recommended. But if you want to eat meat, then you can offer to Kali on the Amavasya night something. Or you can eat beef also, allowed in Vedic culture. Wait till the cow dies. Then you can take. We'll give you, Prabhupada said. We'll give you. You take the skin off and do whatever you do with it, make shoes or whatever, mridangas. And then you can eat. So it's very broad in that sense. Millions can join. What does that mean? Not everyone's going to be a pure Vaishnava. But they should be willing to make their contribution in work. They should not be envious of devotees. And then everyone can join, at least for festivals, in chanting the holy names and taking prasadam. And then everyone will become purified. What is that? Sarvam karma akilam partha What's the next line? Jnane parisamapyata. All work that brings us to all the work comes together. And that's in the chapter, the section discussing yajna. So by doing work, one comes to the platform of knowledge. Because in the whole society, there's the culture, the understanding. We're here to serve Krishna, and people may have that in a broader way or a lesser way, but everyone has the opportunity to come together to serve Krishna. And many people, they may join, but they just need some work and some food. There's so many people in the world who are unemployed. Now there are so many young people making protests and rioting in Tamil Nadu. What's the actual issue? They're frustrated. Many of them will be unemployed. So many unemployed people. They don't have anything to do, so here's an issue they're frustrated. They'll make some agitation. In America, so many people unemployed. I saw you see the beggars standing on the side of the road with a card. Give me $1 or give me some work. There's people that I'm ready to work. It's not that I'm just a beggar, I'm a leecher, a parasite. I want to work, but there's no work there. That's why this Trump got some popularity, because he said he'd kick out all the Mexicans because they work illegally and then they pay them lower than... You can't employ an American citizen at the minimum wage level, but you can employ Mexicans. So they have talk about the illegal economy in India. There's a huge illegal economy going on. You see everywhere in America, and Mexicans working, and they're not registered. They're not. It's all illegal, but it goes on openly. So the American citizens, they don't get jobs. They say, we can give you work. They'll give you work. You have to work, but some restrictions will be there also. No drunkenness, intoxication. Possibly, that may be allowed. In Vedic culture, there are people on the outside who may be indulgent in intoxication. The problem with that is that in the Vedic culture, there are a small number of people who live outside the proper village. They're their own little village where they break all the principles, and they're just like animals. But the thing is that in the modern world, they're the majority, so we can't allow the majority to dictate. But the idea is that millions can come in. And Prabhupada, he himself cooked some preparation, which he called Meat Eater's Delight. He made it with paneer, tomato sauce, hing. So I remember once in England, this must have been late 1976 or early 1977, before I come to stay in India. There was a group of young people who came to Bhakti Vedanta Manor where I was staying, and they were interested in Krishna consciousness, for preaching. And one of them said, well, I like to eat meat and fish. One of our devotees said, well, we can cook you preparations that are just like that, the eggplant pakoras, just like fish. It even looks like it. If you take it, I was a bit surprised to hear that, but Prabhupada said, yeah, you'll give them such preparations there, and especially ghee. Prabhupada said, if you give them ghee, they'll forget about eating meat. There was a very big part of Prabhupada's preaching in the West was the Sunday feast. And Prabhupada himself would personally cook, and they'd make so many preparations. They'd go out and work all week, distributing books, doing Harinam, giving flyers, inviting people, and they'd come to the Sunday feast and give these heavy lectures, and then they give this heavy prasadam, and just all fantastic preparations. Really, you don't know it nowadays. They're all Indian preparations also, and they're just completely amazed They couldn't imagine such food, all cooked in ghee. That makes a difference. And of course not just ghee, because we used to go to Indians, people's houses when we were traveling, patels. We'd travel around England and make life members. And they're excellent cooks, but it's not the same as prasadam. The prasad has its own special flavor. The nectar of Krishna's lips, the love and devotion. So these are all the holy name, the association of pure devotees. Sometimes we think pure devotee, Narottam Das Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur, but pure devotee, we can say someone whose goal of life is to serve Krishna. They're completely dedicated to that. Prabhupada also, the pure devotee. They may not be fully, just like the mango may not be fully ripe, or the coconut may not be fully ripe, but it's a mango, it's a coconut, it's on the way. So, and in the normal course of time, a raw mango will become a ripe mango. A green coconut will become a fully ripe coconut. So pure devotee means that the goal of life is to serve Krishna and satisfy Krishna. And it makes a very powerful atmosphere. And if people even come in with material desires and this and that, there's a strong association. The whole mood is like that. In kirtan, daily discussion of Krishna's festivals and the farm communities, there should be good festivals. There's something also Prabhupada introduced very early. Festival, there's feast is there, but also dramas and kirtan, plenty of kirtan, blissful kirtan. And the whole effect is just very, very purifying. Very, very purifying. And the whole mood is one that let us please Prabhupada, let us try to serve Krishna. Everyone is here to serve Krishna. Very, very purifying atmosphere. So millions can join. Not everyone may be in the mood of complete pure devotion, but the idea is that they can gradually get caught up in that by associating with devotees. So this is also for, we see so many brahmacharis, they join our temples, but then they don't stay. Then they can go to the farm. They want to get married, or they find the temple life, or the ashram life in the city, it's very intense. And not everyone can do that their whole life. Let them go to the farm. Otherwise, so many years of training and dedication, and then they have to go back to do some miserable karmic job, and it's just lost. And even so many devotees, they become devotees in the cities, and they're trying to be devotees, but just all their time goes in doing some job, and they have to associate with materialistic people. It's really the great solution. Prabhupada, tremendous vision. Make these communities where everyone can live. Not everyone's going to be a brahmachari. And we don't want all brahmacharis, because 50% or so of the population of the world is female. So they have to be accommodated. So many sincere devotees, and they're very difficult. Even more difficult for men to be brahmacharis is for women to be lifelong brahmacharinis. They should be married. So then they can. But the city life also, in so many ways, it's even if you want to be a sincere devotee, it's so many challenges. Of course, there are challenges of living on the farm, but different. The challenge is not to be Krishna conscious. That's the easier part. But it may be a challenge in the beginning that they're too austere or this and that. But as most of the devotees, they get adjusted to that in just a few days, isn't it? You can get adjusted to it. Just like if you come you come from the west to India, and then it's so hot, and then you get adjusted back to it just 2-3 days. So it's really it's a great program. It's 50% of Prabhupada's. Wow, look what he did. Look what he did. He did unprecedented, unimaginable work. The fulfillment of all the Acharya's desires to bring Krishna consciousness to the West world, and 50% not done. In one sense, we can say, well, that's 50%. Well, that's a huge challenge, because what did all of us together to put? But on the other hand, that means 50% means already Prabhupada brought so much nectar, and then there's another. It's one tsunami comes, and then the next wave comes, which is even bigger. Aniya Premera Bandha Dubailo Gauradesh, Nityanand brought the flood of life. He flooded Bengal with love of God, and that's supposed to, the flood, the tsunami is supposed to keep on going. Dubilo Bhakata Jan Dino Hino Bashe. So the devotees, they got drowned, but all the rascals, they avoided getting drowned. So the second wave, all the sincere, they all come in the first wave. The second wave is all the people who don't come to Krishna consciousness. What does that mean? Patita Pavana Hetu Tava. To pick up the people who are not interested. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what does it mean, Patita Pavana? That he picks up even the people who are not interested or not qualified. Stri, Vridha, Balak, all the people who are not, what does that mean? The women, the old people are already burned out, and then the children, everyone, they all get drowned in the ocean of love of God. Only the Kashya Mayavadi and Paurava Adham, which means the Mayavadis of Varanasi and the fallen students. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got them also. He found a way to get them also, which was his taking sannyas. So that was instrumental in picking up even those who were expert at avoiding his network of mercy. So Prabhupada had so many programs. We've got science preaching, we've got book distribution, we've got Harinam, we've got prasadam, we have festivals, we have all kinds of programs to catch people and then bring them in. Otherwise people see us and they may be good people, appreciate, yeah, very nice, but how are they going to practically, how are you going to practically be Krishna conscious? This is it. This is practical. We made a very good first step in showing that it's practical. There was so much propaganda. It's not practical. Okay, it is practical. You can do it. Can be done. Can live like this. Now we have to expand it more and more and more and more. 50%. Phew. As some devotees doubt, they say, well, it's not written in the Veda base. So that means Prabhupada never said it, or we're not sure. But several devotees said that Prabhupada had said that to them. And even if all these devotees who said that Prabhupada had said it to them, even if they're all lying or they misunderstood, still there's so many instructions from Prabhupada about this, which are recorded in his books, in his conversations, in his letters. I'm going to read something that Abhiram Prabhu, who was one of Srila Prabhupada's attendants in several months before Prabhupada left. He was serving Prabhupada, but he left Prabhupada's party shortly before Prabhupada left this world. When he saw that Prabhupada had decided to leave, then Abhiram left his party also. He said, I saw my service was to help Prabhupada, to serve him, that while he was thinking of staying with us, but when he did, because a yogi, even an ordinary yogi Swachanda he can leave whenever he wants. What to speak of a highly exalted, most exalted Mahabhagavat. So when Abhiram Prabhu said that when Prabhupada when he decided he's not going to stay, then he or Abhiram also said, I couldn't stay for that last part. So anyway, he's recalling, Srila Prabhupada was talking to the devotees about his imminent departure. I have no lamentation, Prabhupada said. That's if we can leave the world before leaving this world, I have nothing that I'm sorry about. I have no lamentation. Then Prabhupada paused and said, no, I have one lamentation. The devotee asked, because you have not finished translating the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada said, no, I have not established Varnashrama. Then sometime later, Abhiram Prabhu said that Prabhupada said to him, 50% of my work is not complete because I have not established Varnashrama. Then he went on to make the comment that we also should lament that we have not done what Prabhupada wanted. He left that for us to do. We can take that in the way. That's his mercy, that he left it for us to do. And we should lament if we're not taking this up very seriously. But that lamentation that's generally taken to be a symptom of tamagun. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna's lamentation is the beginning of, or the situation in which Krishna could speak Bhagavad Gita to him. That lamentation was, then Krishna spoke to him to get up from this situation, arise from this lamentation and get up and fight. So that lamentation, that shouldn't be, not just we sit in the corner lamenting. Vishadi dirgha sutricha. Vishad, lamentation, is one of the symptoms of tamaguna. That's mentioned. A person in tamaguna is vishadi, he's always lamenting, and dirgha sutri, he puts everything off, procrastinates. So if we're simply lamenting, oh, didn't do it, later we'll do it. Later we'll do Varnashram, time's not right. That's tamagun. But that lamentation should spur us to, okay, let's get up. Now, Krishna gave knowledge to Arjuna, and on the basis of that he got up with faith in Krishna's order and Krishna's protection and Krishna's instruction. So we should also get up and do what's required. Not that we're simply lamenting. There may be so many obstacles. Also, we can see Srila Prabhupada's life, so many obstacles he had to face. He said, I had to go through fire to establish this Krishna conscious movement. So many difficulties. Practically his health was wrecked on the way to America. No one to help him, no one to support him, no one to say, oh, you're doing very nice work. In the beginning, they didn't understand. No one understood what he was doing. And no encouragement from his godbrothers, not even a word of appreciation. Rather, one of his godbrothers, that you can see that he wrote a letter that this is his endeavors in America, ludicrous. He used the word ludicrous. And then there was a disciple of one of Prabhupada's godbrothers who Prabhupada is writing to, saying, you come and help me. And then he wrote that I'd spoken to my guru, and he said, this Bhaktivedanta Swami, he's in America. That's before ISKCON was formed. What he's doing is ludicrous. And he gave the example of Jhansi. He was in Jhansi and then nothing worked out. So it's just the same thing. He's big talk and nothing happens. That's what they were thinking. With no help. But Prabhupada wrote back that you may think it's ludicrous, but it's not ludicrous. It's transcendental. Everything transcendental is glorious because we're attempting to do this. That he strongly contested that. He said, even if we're not successful, just the endeavor is glorious. Another point, Prabhupada had this sense of urgency. One reason he came to America when he was 70 years old, and then you don't expect to live very long when you're 70 years old. What happened, Prabhupada left this world, and most of his disciples, they were under 40 years old, mostly in their 20s. Most of the first 11 who took the role of gurus, I think most of them were under 30, I think. So there were, and then that sense of urgency that we have to do it now, there's no time. Yeah, we got a whole lifetime. And then you get in this slowed down kind of mood, and then even when you get old, you don't feel that urgency. But ahani bhutani gachanti hayamalayam, daily so many souls are going to hell. We should try to save them. Save them is one thing, and give them the mercy that Prabhupada came to give. The Varnashrama communities are a medium by which the mercy that Prabhupada, the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spread it widely to many, many people. Go in the streets and do Harinam, and many people here distribute books, many people take books. But communities means that give them an opportunity. We want to, villages, towns, countries, so of people who are continually exposed, if not continuously, to the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise going Harinam, oh, so many people heard the Harinam, great, wonderful, Jai. They heard it just for a few seconds though. But to make some arrangement where they can come and be in that atmosphere. So now, of course, we're going step by step. We don't want to, at this stage, we're probably not ready to bring in so many different people. We want to bring in very serious, committed devotees, but we should keep it in mind that it's supposed to be a mass movement, Hare Krishna movement. Movement doesn't mean 3 or 4 people sitting together and doing a kirtan. That's also glorious. I'm not undermining that, minimizing it. But it's actually meant to be a mass sign. Movement means many, many people. They should all come together and chant Hare Krishna. And that's what they do. That's what you do. After dark, there's no lights, and you come together and chant Hare Krishna. What else are you going to do? That's also why it's good not to have electricity, because after dark you just chant Hare Krishna and take rest early. And then you get up early automatically, become regulated, and then you just automatically wake up. You rest at the same time and wake up. Maybe it changes a little bit with the season, because the days become longer in the winter, like that. So maybe. But it just becomes part of your life, and then it becomes your life, that regularly chanting, do some work, and then more chanting. There can be 3 programs a day. That was there in New Vrindavan. I think you have that in your Nandagram also, isn't it? You have early morning kirtan, then again midday, then everyone goes to work, then at midday you come again together for class, Shravan Kirtan, and then again in the evening. So it's 3 times a day. So the work is there, but the focus is on hearing and chanting about Krishna. The whole, I was just reading, that's in the 7th canto, 1. Atma Vimarshana. One of the, that means introspection, or understanding who we are. That should be the self-realization. That is the basis of this society. A completely different approach to life. In the Bhagavad Gita, the topic that Krishna speaks about most, or you can say that the whole crux of the Bhagavad Gita is this Atma Vimarshana. First of all, understand who we are. Arjuna's lamentation is based on a misunderstanding of who he is and who everyone else is. So that's, and Prabhupada also, again and again and again, just stressing this point, understanding who we are. We're not the body. It's not our permanent situation. We're not here to enjoy this world. We've got this human form of life. It's meant for, it's a opportunity, rare opportunity to understand who we are. So the whole community, based on that understanding, we're talking about economic interaction and working, and different varnas and ashrams, but the basis is, even the chanting, why we're chanting, not everyone may understand, but people can come to understand. Everyone can understand. You don't have to be a big scholar to understand. I'm not this body, I'm here to serve Krishna. Big scholarship there may be required for a few, but basically everyone has to. In the Vedic culture, not everyone will be highly educated. Most people won't read and write, but they can know the topics of Bhagavatam and know that I'm not the body, I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. Prabhupada said that. He said, and one time he was going on his morning walk in Vrindavan. In those days, you go out of the ISKCON temple, go down Chatika Road, it's just all open fields. Now it's all 5-star apartments, Vairagya Mahal and all this kind of thing. 5-star Bhajanashram with 24-hour hot and cold, gated community and all this kind of thing. But those days it was open fields, so the Prabhupada was walking early one morning, and one farmer, he was out in the field working, he saw Prabhupada where he came running across his field and came down and offered obeisances. And Prabhupada said, see, that's the difference between Indian civilization and American civilization. In America they have so much technology and sophistication, everyone's educated, but it never happens in America. First of all, you won't find anyone out in the field early in the morning working. And you won't find anyone in the field. You won't find a field, practically. Most people never even seen a field. Hardly. Maybe when they're driving in their car. They've never been in a field. If you go in the field, they'll prosecute you. The farmer will prosecute you or shoot you. Literally. So that'll never happen in America. For all we're all educated, and the Indians, they're all poor. But Prabhupada said that the poor man will come. He knows who is a sadhu. He'll come and bow down. He doesn't know how to read and write, but he knows this is a saintly person. I should bow down to him. He knows that I'm in my situation because of my previous activities, the karmic influence. So it's much. He knows more about what he needs to know, far more. Even though he's not a big pundit in Vedic knowledge, but he knows what he needs to know. Whereas the American might be able to tell you things like the names of all the states in America and all things you have to learn. Although I saw someone sent me a link, they asked people questions, and it's amazing how stupid people are. Just like they ask someone, can you think of a country in America, asking people, can you tell the name of a country beginning with the letter U? So many people there thinking and thinking, said, well, what about the United States? I mean, there are others also, right? Uganda, Uruguay, United Arab Emirates, but there's so many people they couldn't think. So there's Even materially. I both myself and Keshwananda, we were sharing that before we went to America. Of course you went years and years ago, but for preaching, thinking, oh, they're all very highly intelligent people. There are obviously some but most people, like everywhere all over the world, they're stupid. But because they didn't read Prabhupada's books, that's what makes you intelligent, actually. But spiritually, people are more intelligent in India because that's the culture. It's not a matter of intelligent quotient or any such thing, but people can understand. They can understand very easily because that culture is there. I'm not this body. I'm meant for self-realization. That culture is going very deeply. Even people here don't know the name of Ramanuja Acharya now, but still his influence is there. Shankara's influence is very, even though they may not know the name of Shankara Acharya, but his influence is still there. A few years ago, Gokul Chandra Prabhu told me they did a program in some girls' college in Salem, or near Salem, and the questions and answers came out, something about vegetarianism, and they were telling how it's all wrong, and on the spot, so many girls, they vowed, okay, now we're going to stop eating meat. On the spot, including Muslims. So that culture is there. It's a very good opportunity here. That question came up. Varnashrama is for India, not for the West. Well, in some ways you could say. Prabhupada said it can at any time it can be easily. It's in one of Prabhupada's purports. I believe in the 5th canto. Prabhupada says at any time Varnashram can be easily established in India. Can be done in the West also, but lot more preparation has to be done in terms of preaching, convincing devotees. Can be done everywhere. The house that everyone can live in. So that everyone can live, we can bring everyone, but the minimum they must be willing to work, and they should come and join us for chanting. There are other things also. Not having electricity, there are many advantages about that, because then you don't have to say no cell phone, no internet, no computer. Immediately, it's all cut out immediately. So, and I'll finish there now. And any questions? I'll finish my formal talk, and then we can have some more informal questions, comments. I mean, what I'm saying, many of you are living more than me. In my youth, I was traveling in the villages of Bangladesh, so I had some experience of how, when I read these things in Prabhupada's books, I could see to a large extent, even though people, they like to chant Hare Krishna, they didn't have any clear knowledge, but basically the culture was there, even though they're fish eaters and this and that. But basically the very strong Vaishnava culture was there, which when I go back now I see it's gone down a lot. TV is there also. But it becomes, maybe it's very difficult for people to even imagine what it's like, because they've never seen any such thing or imagined any such thing. But I was living in that atmosphere, which you could say, in many ways, it was like you could say it was the same way of life as when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here, or even going back even long before that, because in most places there's no electricity, no roads, no cars. Most people have never seen a car. People went from place to place by walking. And they didn't go much place to place. If we did a program in a village, people would come up, they'd walk 20 kilometers, something like that, many times. And then after the program, they'd sleep there at night, just on the ground, and then they'd go back in the morning. But it was such a big thing that they'd walk such a long way. It was a normal thing for them. If they have to go to the market, they bring something to the market and purchase some things. Once a week, the hut, they'd walk 10, 15, 20 kilometers carrying things, their produce, put it out on a cloth, sell it, buy something else, and come back. And they do that maybe once a month. So I can see now that was Krishna's arrangement. I was able to see that, and that gives me the confidence it can be done. People can live like that. And those people had no idea of living any other way. Just like I remember once in one village, one boy asked me, in your village, presuming I lived in a village, but in England where I grew up, most people don't live in villages. He said, in your village, are there kacha roads or paka roads? Kacha roads means not with the tarmac Adam. But in England, there was no one had ever this kind of rough road. You hardly ever saw. Maybe in a big farm there'll be some dirt track like that. In Ireland there was more, but not in England. Everywhere, it's coming like that in India now. Every road is all pakka, but far too narrow. But the very question means he can't even imagine what kind of life, what it's like. Yeah, then anything? Did you visit some gurukuls? Tomorrow maybe? Speak loudly. Oh, okay, speak to me and then I'll repeat it so everyone can hear.
There is a country, Cuba, where they have started living simpler life in modern.
Yeah, in Cuba, because they had so many sanctions from America, they were forced to grow their own food. And they had a communistic society, which seems to have worked fairly well. Of course, to establish the communistic society, first of all they killed so many people. All the higher, or the aristocracy, that's how they started their society. But after that they seem to be fairly socialistic. And they have a very good medical system for their people. The same medicine you can get in Cuba for $1, which in America would be $200 or something like that. Because it's the government actually seems to be working for the benefit of the people, as far as they can understand.
Reaching there for Varnashrama will be not more fruitful compared to America or other places.
I don't know. I haven't been to Cuba. Apparently some devotees went there recently because it was closed to Americans for many years. But anyway, you do what you're doing here now. Think about Cuba. Think about Cuba and America later. There should be good scope. Off the grid, yeah, we're living without electricity, yeah. But off the grid doesn't necessarily mean living without electricity. It can mean you generate your own electricity by solar or whatever. Yeah.
was a Christian, and he had a near death experience. So he went by he was a Christian. He had these angels towards the future, and he told him that is there going to be nuclear war too.
Go what? The angel said what?
That Christians said to angel.
Yeah.
That I think that I think in future there will be nuclear war. Everything will be destroyed. Angel said no war. He has not decided that. And then he proposed his price for his farm. And then angel said, God has decided that there will be farmhouses. And millions will come to farmhouses. Same thing, he said God has decided. And he was shocked about this out of nowhere. And when he came up and he was
Okay then, we'll finish now. Hare Krishna.